You've seen Ghost in the Shell, right? If you've seen the movie, maybe you've seen the anime adaptation, or maybe you've seen the Hollywood adaptation. Either way, you've seen Ghost in the Shell, and you see the level of cyberpunk technology, the level of technological implementation into the human body in those movies or anime. What would happen? You ever thought about what would happen if it was taken a step further? What is beyond Ghost in the Shell cybernetic implementation? What if they actually implemented technology into the very genes, the DNA of humans, so that no human without this specific gene sequence can interact with the technology? That is blame territory, and that's where we're going today. So what is up, YouTube? It's RSMario here, bringing you another anime review. I know it's been a long time since I did an anime review, and I'm trying to work myself back into doing it. So I decided to cut my teeth on some movies before I get into things like Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia, which are my next big shows. The season 1 of those shows I'm going to review soon. But I'm going to kind of cut my teeth again on movies. And this one is Blame. So it's the new Netflix original from Polygon Pictures. And it's actually a pretty good movie. This is arguably some of the best CG I've seen on a Polygon, even though I haven't seen all their work. This is some of the best CG I've seen. This is much better than what we saw in Aijin and Knights of Sidonia. But yeah, the story follows a guy by the name of Killy. He is a human who is has his consciousness in a cybernetic body, I think, because he doesn't seem human, down to his personality, and his physical attributes don't seem human at all. But he says he's human, so I'm guessing he's a human. And he is looking for someone who holds the net terminal gene, because in this cyberpunk reality, the net terminal gene is basically a genetic sequence of technology in human DNA that allows you to basically communicate with the AI, which is the net terminal, or the net sphere, that controls this city. A sickness came through and basically wiped that gene out of existence. So there are few, if any, people who actually possess the net terminal gene. And he's looking for those people, because that's the only way to stop the city from killing everybody. Because the city, the AI has been designed to kill anybody that doesn't have this genetic sequence. Which kind of raises a lot of questions as to, if basically this was a pure genetic society that nobody else that doesn't have this genetic sequence is allowed to live. That's kind of deep. But beyond that, now that the sickness has come through and wiped out everybody who can access the AI, nobody can turn it off. So now it's killing everybody, and it's constantly building itself to the point where it completely covers the earth with one big construct. One big piece of construction covers the entire planet because it's literally been continually building for generations. That's insane. Now the characters is somewhere where this show kind of hit and miss. Now you have Killy, who is your main character. He literally has the personality of the Terminator. Like, literally, that's his personality. He doesn't have much outside of that. He's a robot, essentially. He's a human, but he has no personality outside of what he has to do. Which is kind of good, but it's kind of bad since he's the main character. He has zero personality. Think like the guy from... You thought the guy from, like, I'll Noah Zero was bad. Killy makes him look like fucking Ric Flair. So, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of charisma or personality outside of kill things, save humanity. The other character we find is Chibo. So Chibo is another person whose consciousness is inside of a robot body. They find her somewhere in the movie, and she's a scientist, and there's more to her than meets the eye. So the last character I can really talk about is Zudu. Now, in the manga, Zudu really doesn't have much of anything. See, the only thing in the manga about her is really she comes from the Electrofishers, which is another group of people living in the city. Now, in the movie, she is presented as one of the main characters. Literally, she gets enough screen time and character development that she can be considered a main character, which is kind of an issue at times. The art design is really good here. It's not the best CG ever. You know, it is still that Polygon Pictures cel-shaded CG. There are points where you can definitely tell it's CG. But it's the best CG I think I've seen from them. And that's probably because they have a film budget. You know, you have more money to do an anime film than you do to have a TV show. So now we get to the pros and the cons. This is where we boil down everything about the show and see the good, the bad, weigh it against each other, and we give it a rate. So the pros for the show definitely are the animation. Animation is pretty good for Polygon. It's better than what they've done. It's definitely better than Berserk. It's better than Knights of Sidonia. It's better than Aijin. The action scenes are solid. The fight between Killy and the main, well, I guess the main boss, I kind of forget her name, but the main boss in the movie. This is one of the best like CG action scenes I've seen in something that wasn't made in America or in a video game. Like, it's a pretty interesting fight scene. Another big pro is the setting. The setting combines like futuristic Ghost in the Shell with like a bombed out Terminator. It's like it combines that together. So it's not like, you know, Uber. It takes the Uber future route of cyberpunk, which you see in like Ghost in the Shell and like Blade Runner and stuff like that, with the bombed out post-apocalyptic look of other type of movies like Terminator, stuff like that, and it brings them together. Like, you can see in the wreckage of this place where it was something like what you see in the Ghost in the Shell movie, and as well as the mythos with just the technology and people becoming so integrated with technology where it's hard to see if they're human or not. All that, it just seems really cool. Like, it seems like if this anime wasn't made, if this manga wasn't written in the 90s, if it was written back in like the early 80s, I would definitely say that this would have probably been like it would have inspired the Terminator, because a lot of this stuff feels like it came from Terminator. Killy's personality, him trying to find a specific person to save humanity. Like, this feels like the Terminator. I'm getting huge Terminator vibes from this, and I am saying the word Terminator way too many times.
私はサナカン
Cons. This show starts off, not show, the movie starts off very slow. It starts off slow. Like, I mean, there's some action in the beginning, but between the beginning action scenes with like the Electrofishers trying to find food and getting attacked by the robots, to Killy showing up, to where the story starts to move, is slow. They introduce you to the world, and I know they have to do world building, but it does slow the movie down. Now, there is a romance in this movie. I'm not going to tell you between who, but there is a romance in this movie, and it is quite lame. Alright, because the person who this person likes literally has the personality of a brick. And I'm like, okay, maybe she finds that hot. But this romance is pointless. And they don't really go too deep into it. But they do spend some time kind of like, oh, she likes him, she blushes. I'm like, stop, okay? This movie is slow enough. If this was edited out, it wouldn't hurt the movie at all. And of course, speaking of personality, Killy has none. Zero. Like, I mean, he does have some personality traits, like the heroic traits. You know, self-sacrifice, if he has to, you know. But beyond that, he is pretty much like a robot. That's one of the reasons why it's hard to see, is he human? Is he not? Because he seems like a robot, you know, personality and everything. It's just, he has no personality to be the main character. Like, Zuru has more personality than he does, and she technically, from the source material, is a more meaningless character. And the last con is the character development. There is character development, and there isn't. Now, the main characters like Killy and Chibu, they kind of get some development. Like, I know there's not a lot, as a movie, there's not a lot of time to go into backstory and character arcs and stuff like that. But Niru gets a lot of character development for a character that's not the main character. Now, I probably shouldn't have really read into the source material, because then that would have probably hadn't changed my mind so much on this. But she gets so much screen time that she is the character that the audience begins to imprint on and identify with, and not Killy. Now, this is a smart writing technique because you can't really identify with a rock. So, identifying with Niru is great, but if she's not going to be in the sequel, if there is one, then what's the point? You know, you could have developed Chibu or one of the other characters who are going to be there, guaranteed, but not develop her. Now, I'm not saying she's a bad character, but she's not the main character, but she gets almost as much, she gets more character development than anybody else in the movie. We know more about her than we know about the main character and the side character. So, weighing blame, or blom, as it's called in the trailer, weighing it out, pros and cons, I would have to give blame a C. And it's kind of hard because this would definitely be a B movie if it wasn't for some things, you know. And I definitely think this probably should be a TV show, because this way they can build it out more, but I guess they didn't want to do that. But that's about it for this. Watch out for my next anime review, which is going to be Perfect Blue. So, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, folks, keep it real.